Good morning. Um, Welcome back. I think that today, as the title says, we're going to be making some kind of an observatory. And I kind of want to put it on top of one of those like bird colony Mesa-Island rocky outcropping. I'm not sure what exactly you call them. Things that you see along the coast of like Iceland and Scotland and Ireland and Oregon too, I suppose. But like a tall, thin column of rock with some scrubby grasses on it. And then up at the top, we're going to put an observatory sort of up here. Um, and I thought we might go about building it using a tool that I don't see a lot of people using in Blender, which is metaballs, at least to start with for the island. So let's go grab one. And we'll start with a cube. Why not? And I'm not going to worry about scale yet. I'll scale it up once I kind of get it to the right proportion, just because it's more things than I feel like I need to worry about right now. But let's stretch this thing up and let's just bring it up too. So we'll start with that. Now what's cool about metaballs, if you've not used them before, is they merge with each other. So you get this kind of neat, almost like a Boolean addition, and you can just start making some cool, fairly organic shapes, really straightforward and easy. So I'm going to make the base of it right now, and then SX to stretch that one, and then SZ, bring it back down. You see, you get this kind of cool, almost for free, sort of organic nature to things. And you can just grab it and duplicate it, bring it in, and 7, and scale, SZ. You start getting some interesting things. And we're going to obviously play with it again beyond just this to give it some kind of an interesting look. But it's just a cool way to get started. And then bring it up. And you see if you pull it away all the way, it's nothing. But it has a proximity field that it uses. And it's just a really interesting way to get some stuff quickly. And let's see. We add another one. Just yeah, we should save, but metaball, and we can go with like a capsule, and we get a different sort of shape. And you almost don't want to be precise here. The goal is to just make something that you wouldn't maybe model if you were building it by hand. It's kind of like slapping clay around in VR too, if you ever use Medium. But take it off to the side, bring it up, SY, and scale it in. G, just to get us something kind of. And we'll go to the ball, scale it up. Something ugly and organic is really what we're looking for here. And like I said, we're gonna tweak it, so it's not a problem. I'm not worried at all about what the base shape is gonna be. But that's feeling kind of cool as a tower. I think we can use that pretty quickly for something. I'm just gonna go maybe a little bit more, scale that up, and bring it in just to give it SY, a little bit more of kind of like a, that's too much. SX, so then scale the whole thing in, and just sort of play around. My best Bob Ross voice, right? You know, just every blob is a friend. That's kind of cool. All right. I mean, like it looks like nothing, but that's kind of the point. So let's select them all and object convert to mesh. And it makes them all into one object. and the geometry is god awful. But that's cool because we have the quad remesher, which we can then remesh the whole thing, and it's done. And now we have, something reasonably well meshed. I don't like that, but we're gonna fix that. All right. Let's A, Q, S mark, and S mark, and remove all the sharps. Okay. And now we can start playing with it some more. So we're gonna select everything. Yep. And quick displacement. And strength of like 0.5. And size, make it a bit bigger. Maybe one cut. Let's see. No, not a cut yet. Smooth just a bit. Okay. So we started to warp it out. Now we've still got it all selected. Let's do another one. Quick displacement, strength 0.33, and cut of 1, 2, and size of 0.5. Make it smaller. And that's kind of neat. Let's try a different, let's try Voronoi. And we can adjust, obviously, our mid-levels. Higher or lower. Yeah, let's bring it to that. And I don't know if the repeat's going to make any difference. Oh, let's repeat on the smoother. That's cool. Let's do that. Sure. And we can add some just straight up noise if we want to. And that'll be good. And now let's do it again. Select all. Q. Quick displacement. And let's do strength of 0.25. And cut of 1. And size of 0.33. Actually, I like 0.5 on that. I think that's looking neat. Digging that. Maybe one more time. One more time. Select it all. Shift Q. Quick displace. Cut of 1. Cuts. Cut 1. How big is this going to make it? We may be hitting the upper limit of what we want to do with this. No, we're okay. We're still under 1 million. We're going to go strength of 0.125, so it's very low. Okay. Yeah. Looks cool. I feel like that's a neat looking rock. Let's see. Just to change it, if we do Voronoi Crackle versus one of the Fs. I kind of understand what these mean, but mostly I just play with them and see what they look like. Ooh. That's cool. I think we're going to just smooth that down a little bit. But it does definitely give us more of like a rock kind of vibe. I actually think I'm going to try to do that next with even less. I liked the F3. Yeah, I'm liking the F3. So let's do it again. Make sure everything's selected. A, Shift Q, and quick displacement. This time we're not going to increase our cuts. We'll set our strength to like 0.05. So low. And it's thinking. And we're running a little slower now because we're up to 1 million polys doing these displacements. But that's okay. 2 million polys. And crackle. Let's see what we got. 2 million polys for this thing, maybe a little high. We may adjust. But I do like it. That's cool looking. Okay. Yeah, I do like it. But let's do now, let's just decimate it. Get it down lower because I don't think we need quite this much. Ratio of 0.5. Let's see what it gives us. Oh, it's only 1 million face count. It was the tries that were higher. But let's see what it looks like. That's fine. So let's apply that. Control A. I'm a big fan of like add detail and then remove detail. So until you get it to where you want to be, it's kind of like over sharpen it, over detail it, and then bring it back, but you still get some of that hints of it in places that I think is neat. Maybe let's see, can we just give it a bit more? There we go. I like the smooths a lot too for something like this. Now let's just check to make sure that our face orientation is still good. It is. And we have ourselves a rock, you know, I mean, or a giant penis, but we're going to say rock. And let's give it our material that we've been using the last couple days. The shaders, sandy shore. We're going to have to tweak it to probably bring the mud down on it, but let's see what we got. Yep. Yes, we are. So let's close this area. And we also have to give it a UV because it doesn't have one right now. So we'll edit, select all, U. We're just going to cube projection, I think. I believe for what we're looking at, that should be okay. Come back out. Yep, and now we got rocks. It looks good, and we want mostly rock, I think, on this one. We probably could just get rid of the bottom two entirely, but you know, we've got them there, so let's use them. And that's going to be which slider do we move? I think this is the one between those two textures. If we bring this one down, we're going to lose all of our sand. Can we go to like here? Where do we want the dirt to go to? Trying to think how much we want it to be underwater. I think that's good. And let's bring a little bit of sand back, but just the tiniest little bit. And back out. There it is. So if we bring this one down, there we go. And we'll just put like just the barest hint of sand here like that. It's probably not even remotely realistic to have that, but I think it's cool. So we're gonna do it. Now we need to start thinking about scale though. How big is this sucker right now? It's 24 meters high. That's not too bad. It's actually better than I thought it was going to be. Put a dude up at the very top. Generate new dude. Cool. You know, I do want it a little bit bigger, I think, for what I have in mind. Let's go off the 3D cursor and scale it to like that. Control A, all transforms. And then we have to fix the materials again. But we know how to do it. So shading. We don't actually have to, we didn't actually have to apply the, we wanted it to about there. Yeah, just about there. And then we'll bring the other one down as well. There we go. Z-scale. Yes, we got a little bit of sand. Cool. And we're gonna put our water like right around here as well. Layout, and let's save. Well, first let's bring it back up, and we're just gonna say, just for funsies, our water line will be origin 0. It'll just make our life maybe a little easier. And file, save as. Am I gonna have to like actually go to a new one? No, there it is. Okay. Nope, I think I am. Fine. Z. There we go. New 230615-1 live stream observatory. It may not end up being an observatory, but we'll call it that for right now. And saved. Okay. So we don't need you anymore. But let's F4. Which one did I put it in? I'm going to, 1 second, I'm just going to open Blender up, new copy of Blender. I don't remember what I named yesterday's water, and I just want to use yesterday's water. So I think we're just going to copy and paste. If I remember what I called it, I would append it. But since I don't, we're going to open up a new copy of Blender. It shouldn't take too long, even with all the damn add-ons I have. Yep. Defer, piss off. And island. It's going to chug away, and we're going to give it to us. Yep. And we're just going to grab the water. Just use the whole water. Copy objects. Paste objects. How do I get a cube? Oh, boat wake. It's that thing it always brings in. Okay. And now I'm going to close the other Blender just because I don't want the polys to chunk up my scene or my world. Note my cool little foam that I created. I'm very proud of it. All right, and GZ, and bring it down to just about there. Let's see what we got. Yeah. I think we're going to put some rocks and stuff around the base that are separate from this thing. I think that will make me a little happier too. Let's see, can I bring this up a little bit? And does it help us to see a little bit of that kind of wet at the bottom? Yes, and I don't like just how even that line of sand is on this, but we're going to cover this thing with a scatters ecosystem, so it should be fine, or biome, I guess they call them in this one. Save. But yeah, man, like check it out. Like that's looking cool. And then I really like this way for making rocks. Like this feels like a really interesting rock shape that I'm not sure even sculpting I would have gotten. The metaballs are really cool for that, in my opinion. Let's delete this hierarchy. We bring them back later, but yeah. Yeah. So let's add some, make sure we scale these. Let's see, all transforms we did. I didn't guess I needed to do all, but that's fine. And scatter and select it. Now let's think about what we want to put on this thing. We want to put some grassy type stuff. I may not even use an ecosystem for this one. I made this one myself because I think I'm going to end up editing it so much anyway that there's no real benefit to doing an ecosystem. So let's try a way I've never used before with scatter and go to botanic. And I'm going to go to grass. And I definitely want that. That's the kind of grass I think we would see on something like this. And I want to select, man, we're just going to do that kind of scatter. Yep. Now, can I scatter from this? There used to be a way to just do scatter from viewport selection, browser selection. There we go. Scatter asset. Oh yeah, it worked. Sweet. And it's garbage for what I want right now, but we're getting there. Okay, but this is why I didn't bother doing a biome, is we're gonna need to just adjust all this stuff anyway, so let's just start doing it. Abiotic, elevation. We could go all the way to the top. I'm not gonna go all the way to the top because we want to put a building up there, but let's see how high we can go, just so we know. Altitude. 10 meters is that high? 25 meters? No. 40 meters? 40 seems good. Yeah, so that very top area is just not going to have any, so you won't waste the polys on it, which is fine. Minimum range of 2? Yeah, I think that's good with a transition of 2. So it gives us some scattering down. Cool. And it's clearly it needs some slope control. And that's kind of the vibe I'm going for. I think we'll give it a bit more. See if we go up to max of 20. And we'll give it a transition of 5. So throw some. Okay. I'm liking that. I think that's pretty effective for what we're trying to do here. Let's do another one. I'm going to do grass high B. Sure. We're gonna have to do all the exact same stuff again. Scatter asset. And see what we got. Looks cool. I want to make it a little bit higher distribution. So let's double the. There we go. Okay. And elevation, again, we said high of max of 40. Right? Yep, 40. And then min, I'm going to say 2 again. And transition also 2. And I want to give this one a different distribution seed. Just cuz. And slope, increase it on, and we're going to make it max of 25. Even 30. And a transition of 10, even beyond that. So do we get some good grass? You can't really see it too well, but yeah, like if you look, there is, oh, we can turn the other one off. We can probably see it better. Come back, come back. Scatter. If we turn this one off, yeah, we can see we got patches of grass kind of going up the side and even hanging on underneath, which I'm kind of okay with, I guess. Actually, I don't know that I'm okay with it. How do I feel? We'll be okay with it for right now. It's fine. And yeah, let's do another one. Let's do this one and scatter the asset. It's just how you build it by yourself if you ever need to, obviously. And randomize it. And elevation, altitude, minimum of transition of 2, fine, since I select that first. Minimum of 2, minimum of 1. Let's have this one go down a little bit more, yeah. Just to make it different. Max of 40. Cool. Slope. And we want an absolute slope. And 15. Did that give us what we want? Let's see what we got if we turn off the other ones. Yeah, that's cool. So just slowly building up on it. And I do think I wanted a more slope though. Let's allow the slope on this one to be 40. What does that give us? Yeah, it's better. Yeah, I like that. And this is just with grasses so far. Let's see, weeds. Got anything in the weed realm we want to do? Just to keep it interesting. Let's throw some red clovers in there, just to add some coloration to it. But we're going to keep our density down on this one, I think. I can't even see it. Is it there? Are they so small that we don't even really notice? If they are, I'll just delete them. I don't even see them. I don't know what's going on, but I'll just get rid of it. And maybe, let's see, are there any kind of ugly shrubs? We want just like a couple hanging off the side. Possibly. Let's try this one. Scatter object. I do like that actually. So I kind of like that even bigger than we had it before. Let's turn these ones back on just so we can see what we get. It almost looks like moss, but yeah, okay. Let's see, again, elevation, minimum of 2. Oh, not percentage, altitude. Like what? Minimum of 2, transition of 3. What does it give us? Just a little bit of roughness. Max of 40. And slope. Max of 50. It's even 60, just to see where it goes. That's looking pretty cool. That's actually looking really neat. And just give it a new. Okay. now. Let's do one more, just because, but we're going to do it down the bottom this time. And we're going to go to rocks. And we're going to select granite. Can we select multiples at once? Ooh, we can. Will it work? And we're going to go to pattern. So these will clump them together more. Scatter our assets. We have ugly rocks everywhere that we don't want. Yes. But if we come down, we'll may have to play with this one a bit. Elevation, altitude, minimum of -5, maximum of 2, with a transition of 4. I don't really super care what's underneath. Doesn't look like it's going down. Does it go? We'll go to negative numbers. 10. Yeah, well. Okay, let's take it down a little further then. And scale, random scale by a factor of 3. Yep. Okay. And then we're going to decrease the amount of rocks we have down there quite a bit. We got some rocks in the base now. We may add a few more just sort of floating out here too. Maybe one more? Let's try. Yeah, there we go. Let's save again. Okay. Any other things we want to add? We've got our 3 granite rocks, photo scans. I think we're good. I think it's time to start thinking about the building. Up at the top, where are we at? 30 minutes? Oh, we're doing good. Down the right side, those are all the add-ons I've got. So, yeah, those are all different add-ons. So it's like Urbaniac, HDRI Maker, Real Texture, Real-Time Textures. There's tons and tons of them, Paul. Let's close this down. Excuse me. This is just one. This is scatter. So in this side here, these are the parameters for scatter. But yeah, man, I'm liking that. All right. So that's kind of what it looks like. We see it. Those are our rocks. I mean, obviously they don't make a lot of sense, and we don't have a ground plane, and we may or may not need one. We'll see later. It kind of depends what it's going to look like once we add a real HDRI. But let's go to our top, and let's make ourselves an observatory. And I think in classic observatory fashion, let's make it a cylinder. And that's 2 meters tall right now. So let's make it, I don't know, 2.5. So 5 meters in total for height. Sounds good. Scale, Shift Z, and bring it out like that. And that would be the size of it, or at least the base of it. I'm okay with that. Looks good to me. Let's solo it, edit, inset it, and then 7.9. Let's just select, not those, 2, 2, 2, 2, and 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1. These are going to be our supports for this thing. Extrude. And let's back off. So, and then scale. Now let's extrude more. Scale. Boop. So they're not all, are they all the same? They should be all be the same. Yeah. Yep. There we go. So there's our very cheesy, simple way of making supports. And I kind of like having two different sized ones. I don't know why. I might grow to dislike that later, but right now we'll do it. Okay. Then let's Control R, give ourselves an edge loop, Control bevel. Now let's create a, how high? 0.5. No, let's not do that yet. Escape. Tab, Control A, rotation scale. Now let's do it. Control bevel. Yeah, okay. With the 0.5. So that's a 1 meter bevel. Do we like it? That's pretty good. Let's do it. I don't want to do this though. Okay. Come on. Okay. Tab. Rotation scale. Tab. Control R. Let's make 2 loops. Each one 0.5. These are going to be our windows. And Alt E. Extrude faces along normals. Bring them in slightly. Cool. And I suppose first I better give this an overall material. So there's going to be our observatory, just so I know what it is. And then these are going to be windows. New. They won't stay with these names. They'll just have the regular material names. But just so I know what the heck it is right now, we'll do that. Because we're still just in blocking out mode a little bit. And yeah, it's gonna be fast. Going along, you're doing well. Means we can really knuckle in and play with this thing. Let's inset it and GZ. That. Cool. Let's inset it and GZ. No, E minus 1.2. It's going to be like an observation deck. We'll inset thickness of 2 meters, and then we will extrude 3 up. Create a second building. Yeah, that's cool. And then let's bevel it. We'll call that a base shape. Let's save it. Now, materials. We've been using a lot of that big, medium, small greeble kit with all the panels. It's a little bit catch cans kind of. It doesn't look. It's grungy. That's the word I'm looking for. But I mean, grungy could be okay for this too. This doesn't have to be posh. So let's start with it and see what we get. We can always change. Metal sheeting here on the observatory. And windows, let's just go with this glass one as well, although I think I might change that. And then if we come back, it's not going to look right yet. Yeah, I don't think the windows are going to work. Let's just switch the windows out now to just this one. There we go. I don't want to be able to see through them right now. Okay, and 1 tab A U cube. You can try a cube, see what it does. Cube is not really great for these though. Let's just Shift G coplanar, not coplanar, Shift G normal. Okay. Yeah. And Shift G, normal, grab all the underside ones. Cool. Control I, 1, U, cylinder protection. Let's see if that's going to make it better. Let's see what we got. I mean, yeah, that is better. I mean, it's still way fugly, but it's better. It's just solo. Z8. So that's, which loop is that? This loop. Okay. So if we select all, what's this loop? What are those things? Is that, yeah, okay, these are the things that are huge. That's bizarre that they shouldn't be. And let's see, L, yes, scale that. So that's the top. We just make it kind of fit more. That's all right. Okay. L, S, X, S, X. There we go. Bring that back up to like there. I mean, I don't hate too much. Let's see. 7. Yeah, we want to do this. A scale. Yeah, bring it to like right there. I don't think anyone's ever going to see that thing anyway, so it doesn't really matter. It's, you know, a little bit. Okay. And I'm fine with that for the top. I think here, let's 6, just so I can see where I'm at. Let's create some windows. And I want to select, check or deselect. Deselect every 3? No. Selected, deselect 3, selected 2. See what that gives us. It's probably yeah, that's cool. I mean, does it line up perfectly every time? Did I actually? No, that one's wrong, but we'll put a door here maybe. Okay, so that, and then inset, and then Alt E, faces along normals, bring it in, cool, and assign it to our window. Now we have some Windows action there, and this here where it's big, let's just make this. How we want to do it? How we gonna do it? You know what? I don't even care. Control R. There. We're just gonna select this, this, and this, and E. Bring it in. That's gonna be our doorway, which we will texture later, I think. 8. Cool. So turn off everything. Bring us back. And I mean, that's kind of what I was looking for. So we have some questions. First question being, how do you get up there? Which in a world with hover vehicles is not that hard. It just means we're going to put something on the roof, like a hatch or something, if that's how they get in. Now, is there going to be any other man-made stuff down below? Have they dug into this, which could be kind of cool if they had? So maybe this whole thing is hollow and they just left it like this, either for camouflage or because there are rare birds nesting there and they don't want to disturb them, whatever. So let's assume that, because it'll let us build more. And let's add like something out here as like a dock type of thing for them to use to get in. We've been doing a lot of floating docks lately, but I think this time I'm going to make something that's a little bit more solid. So Shift A, mesh, cube. Scalar up. I'm not terribly worried about how big. GZ. Okay. And then tab GX. Scale it out like that. Okay. Then let's see. Tab. Solo this sucker. Control R. Unsolo it. GG. Bring this loop to like there. 3 E3. Oh, is that 3 meters? Shouldn't be. It can't be 3 meters, is it? I mean, yeah, no, I guess that could be 3 meters. Control A, rotation scale. Gonna have to put another person down here again, I think. Let's go back to layout and get out of UV editing. Don't need to be there anyway. And let's close this to give us some more room for right now. And generate a person. Let's see. Is he right? No. Yep, that's 3 meters. Cool. Just gonna, okay, I'll actually keep the person this time. Yep. And then we'll go here and then just delete that and then delete the eyes, the teeth, and we got a dude now we can use for scale. Okay, cool. Think that's gonna work for us. Let's assign it the same material. Let's be consistent. And that way if we change it, it'll change them all too. And jumping back and forth between textured and our solid view. AU cube projection. Man, I dig my surf. It's actually pretty cheesy, but it's just it's using an ambient occlusion with a little bit of roughness, or sorry, noise to cut out of it, so it's not solid. But I think it, particularly for a distance shot, it really adds a lot. I'm pleased with it. Okay. So this would be where our hovercraft would pull up to. So we're going to build some kind of like a bumper system for a dock. Here we could do some fabric, and fabric is always fun just because it gives a sense of materials. If everything is just what you call it, metal panels, there's a sameness to it that can get kind of boring. So then we select this, this, and this. Yep. And let's go back to that. Alt E, extend little normals, bring them out. Let's go 0.5 meter. There's no need to be precise, but there's also no need not to be precise. So we're going to be. And now I'm going to Control R and add, say, 5 cuts this way and 1 cut this way. And 3, select the loops again, and Control plus to grab the whole thing. Okay. Now, I'm also going to, do I make it bigger or not? Do I go up? No, we won't. We'll leave it like this. Okay. So let's go back to utilities and panel cloth and see what we get. We're going to give it 10 cuts right now. We're going to remove the original faces. We're going to add a margin of 0.2. Will that work? Kinda. Why is it not? Maybe don't want to remove the original faces. Although I kind of did, but is it not pinning that whole thing? Remove faces. Yep. Is there, does this thing have any kind of vertex groups or pin? I need to figure out how to pin it better so I can pin it to the thing inside, but I think this will be fine and I can just extend that out if I need to. F9, that's margin of 0.25. Or is that why I'm losing my, that's why I'm losing it. Okay, margin of 0. Yes, that's why I was going away. Okay, that makes sense. So let's undo that, edit. Now I want to take these and make seams out of them. 2. Ugh, I don't even like that. Yeah, bastard. I just want it to be straight. Okay. I don't like that. Let's just undo. Undo history. I'm gonna remove all those loop cuts. Okay. Because you're being a pain in my ass. Plus, and we'll do this one too. There we go. 7 Q dice. Yep. And okay. And we're gonna select Q dice Y. 1. Turn off X. Now, yes, now I have nice solid flat loops too. Don't have those weird angling out things that because of that I did not want. So I got all those. Now we can edge, mark as seam. Okay. Now, I know it's anticipation's killing everyone, right? Select that, plus, tab, Shift Q, panel cloth, seam split mode. Cuts 10. And remove faces. Did it seam it? Maybe, yes, but I need to make it more cuts for it to work. Cuts 25. I'm trying to create gaps in the bumpers, like along that here. And I'm still not happy with it, so we're gonna do it a little bit. We're gonna do one more time. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We got lots of time today, so we're not even to an hour yet. Bevel it. There's no reason not to be even, so 0.1. Cool. Now, if we, how do we want to do it? Don't want to see Control I. Control I? No? Weird. 3. Okay. Fine, we'll just do it the hard way. Shift G. Area. Will it let me get it? Kinda. Got those at least. Fine. Just sometimes trying to be cute can just waste more time than just going through and doing it the slow way. Like, I'm spending all this time trying to work out a really sexy way to select faces when I could have just come through and select the bloody faces I wanted. I mean, the advantage to it is once you figure out the sexy way, you can use it again. So I don't not approve of that. Okay, There we go. I think this will do it now. Shift Q, panel cloth, cuts 25. Yes, looking cool. That is indeed what I wanted. Looks good. I am down. Oh, that's weird. Why did it go in? All right, undo. We'll do these. Oh, I didn't select those faces. Like, what? Okay, panel cloth. Cuts 30. Take it up more. Shift G is amazing, Paul. Like once I figured the two things that changed everything for me in Blender, as dumb as it sounds, is Shift G to select, and then um, being able to move things to the origin. Just being able to go like, object, set origin, or set object origin to cursor, move to cursor. Man, when I was doing Snowpiercer and I was still using Octane, I had to move all these tchotchkes onto a shelf, and I was moving everyone by hand just so slowly. It was such a pain. I was like, oh my God, I can get it exactly where I want it. But yeah, no, Shift G is cool. Um, it's definitely worth using. Um, cool. I think that's kind of what I wanted for that. Um, we could tweak it a bit more. Could make it a bit more inflated. Let's just see what happens if we increase the pressure to 1.5. This gives a bit more oomph. Yeah, yeah. It's weird learning this stuff by sort of on your own without like a class or whatever, right? Because there's like you have these weird esoteric skills that you needed for a project that most normal people don't ever use. But then like simple shit like how to select and move an object, you never figured out because no one ever showed it to you. Um, I feel like I'm like 4 or 5 years in now. I'm actually starting to be okay about that. But at first, I said yesterday, I don't know if you were here, but I started using Blender initially just to do fluid simulations. And then I would bring them into Octane to do the rendering. So, like, my knowledge of this huge modeling tool was I can make splashes, and like, who does that? Nobody. Nobody learns to use a 3D modeling tool so they can make a splash, but I did. Um, and that's how it goes. Cool. Yeah, that's working for me, I think. I like that. It's giving me those. I like having the breakup, and we're going to do it even a bit more now, I think. If we come just go to this, yeah, and select these faces here, and maybe we'll make them a bit higher and bigger and more apparent. I know, right? What are you doing? Fluid sims. It's just the dumbest thing. I was like, what? Why am I? But it was what I needed it for. Ah, C4, nice. That's cool. I I was a 2D illustrator that just sort of picked up this stuff one day and I actually started in VR mostly. I guess technically I started in 3D Coat, but I didn't do a whole lot in it. But I started in VR with Oculus Medium, and then no, three, right? Yeah, three. Yep. Why am I getting those faces too? Solo. Um, is there a face there that I'm? Oh, I see. That's bizarre. One, three, three. Okay, now we should be good. Um, yeah, we're good. So I started in Medium, and then I was just doing stuff on my own, just to kind of like, oh, we're working this out. And then I was using Octane to render, so I just bring in a incredibly inefficient, massive FBX file from Medium straight into Octane, texture it there, and go. And as you can imagine, it wasn't the most efficient method. So then I started doing stuff in Blender, and then I ultimately, obviously now I'm here, and loving every second of it. But cool. Yeah, those are neat. Save. Just brought like those up as like clamps a little bit. And there we go. Like whatever path gets you to where you need to be, that's the good path as far as I'm concerned. I am not at all one of these people. It's like, you should do it this way. Man, I didn't need to do it that way. Like, that wasn't what I was trying to do. Um, these are all just tools. You're not supposed to, there's no right way. I mean, now there are more efficient ways sometimes. That's for sure. But kind of a cleaner one. Just thinking what we want the top of this to be. But I wouldn't go so far as to say right. Yeah. Which of course people hate to hear because they all want to know, well, how do you what's the steps? What are the process? Yeah, but I don't know. What do you want it to be? Actually, I'm gonna change this off this material, I think. Let's see. Let's just grab something different. Did I get all the inner ones? Yes. Assign. I can see that. There are some real purists out there. And I am many things, but a purist is basically never one of them. I am like the world's biggest hacker mindset when it comes to like, make it work, don't care, really don't give a shit. Crunch concrete. I gotta go over here. No, I did it. Yep, there we go. No, that's all right. Undo. Oh, that's why that should be selected. Redo. And then we'll just assign this one back. Assign. Okay, and now while I'm over here, we'll grab Guppy's crunch cloth and select it and attach it to that. Although I might change it this time. So we got some bumpers. Maybe we take, because there's no reason it has to be this high up. Cheesy. Bring it down a little bit towards the water. Yeah, I think I like that. So the bumpers also might, it kind of feels like they go to the water more. Cool. And maybe we actually will just make this whole thing, I don't know the whole thing, but make the bottom part concrete. Yep. Cool. So that's coming up. How are we feeling about it as an overall shape? If we look at it down here, it's important to think about like what we're making. I'm kind of leaning towards something like this for my camera angle. Ooh, that's more than 100. Okay, let's fix that. We are getting camera clipping because it's more than 100 meters away. So 500 meters. There we go. All right, and let's just set my camera up since we're here. Resolution 239 widescreen, baby. Gotta do it. Area Alexa 65, because why not make it cinematic? And lens for the same reason. Anamorphic, because everyone likes an anamorphic cinematic lens. And we're going to be looking at something like that. Maybe we'll make it a 40 instead of a 50. I think that's going to be an initial composition for us, just so we have an idea as we're going forward what we're doing here. We need to blink this. It's not nearly detailed enough, even with our cool, patty things on the side. This needs to bring our dude down for accuracy. Oh, those camera things, that's photographer. And photographer is amazing. Like, I say that if I had to tell people like the 3 add-ons that I must, or the 4 add-ons that I must use in everything, it is photographer, hard ops, random flow, and scatter. Like, I use more than that, clearly, but those four, like every single project seems like has those. And photographer just takes here all of the blender camera controls are just garbage in terms, like they're fine, but they're just in 1,000 different sub menus and they're a pain to find. And this brings them all right together and it works great. And it's like 10 bucks. It is the best plugin for speeding up your setting up your stuff at the end. And who's got time for that? Like I want to spend my time modeling. um, okay, so there's our dude again. I'm gonna go, since I'm already here, let's do some kit bashing. Term sheets, ports and airlocks. And let's just do this one. Yeah, no, it's great. It's there's a version on Blender Market for it's like Photographer 4.6 that's cool. And then I don't know why, but Photographer 5 is Gumroad only right now. He says for legal reasons, and I have no idea what the hell that means, but whatever. Um, but 4.6 is cool. RY minus 90. 1, 3. Okay. Let's just get this kind of in there. I might not even bother. Just GZ. Keep it that way. GY. No, GX. Tax crimes. Yeah, really, right? It feels like there's some weird like politics with Blender Market sometimes. I don't know. It's like people are getting. There was something weird with like Cycles K or Cycles X or something. I don't know. Cycles K cycles, and I don't know. I don't get involved. I just make cool pictures. Or what I hope are cool pictures. All right, cool. So we're just gonna use this as our entrance because why not? Save. Um, Now maybe I think we need some lights. I mean, I think that's just gonna be kind of a requirement. And we'll grab those from Ian. Hardware greebles. Once you find, it's like you find these things, these greebles you like, and you're just like, I'm just gonna use them because they're cool. There we go. Georgian RY90. I'm gonna scale it up a bit. GZ down in. Now I should. This thing is symmetrical, right? Yeah. So I should just be able to do that. Yep. Cool. And then I'm gonna take the same thing and Alt D G X. Yeah, on this one to there. Okay, save it. And just while I'm down here, I'm going to take some of my things that I made available on my Patreon. And I mean, they are, but whatever. These are some I just covered some stuff in tarps just so that I would have them to use. Hey, Butterbeat, good morning. Apps or assets like this are the kind of thing that I use all the time, but I'm always just too lazy to like, I want to go do a cloth sim on a tarp every time I need one. So I just made like 15 of them that I could put into scenes when I needed something, to fill out like this. Um, Scale it up. There you go. And they're just set so they sit nicely on things, and you're like, okay, now I can put stuff down, and it just gives it a sense that there's, it's being used for something. Like it is actually a dock. And I guess some of these are too big to fit in there as whole pieces, but they're being used for that. I am liking that though. I think that's cool. Um, Maybe we can do some blinging up here at the top now too. Where are we at? Like an hour and 10? Oh, time is going by. I spent a lot of time tweaking that dock. Tweaking on a dock of a bay. Oh God, yeah, Paul, me too. Like I don't know why, but I was like kind of maybe even a little intimidated by the asset browser for a long time. I was like, I don't, it's the doing something new, I guess. And when I started using it, I'm like, oh my God, why was I not doing this before? Um, okay, random panels, loop extrudes. Let's do loop extrudes. And now I live in the asset browser. It's it's so good. Um, I mean, like putting materials in it. That's if nothing else, materials. Like the amount of times you should reuse a material versus just remaking it from scratch again is just unbelievable. And you just drag it. And before the asset browser, I was using kit ops to do that. But the asset browser is, in my opinion, a more elegant, more unified way of doing that. That's great, Paul. When they're not done, that's kind of perfect because it's a start. I regard the asset browser for me as a starting point, right? It's I don't sometimes want all my pieces to be finished because then everything winds up looking the same. But if you just put all of your initial building blocks there, then it's just faster. This is too big. 0.5, 0.33. And I'm still going to be 0.33. Okay. Yeah. Cool. Yeah, like you put your initial parts and then dumb shit. And the one that I still need to put in there is like I almost always put a cube of fog on the end of a scene. I should just have that in the asset browser. I haven't put it there yet, but that's one of those to-dos for me. Um, ooh, yeah. Uh, no, I just like one. Cool. It's so ridiculously funny to me how adding random cube sections sticking out of anything makes it look sci-fi to us. We are so trained by like bullshit greebles after Star Wars and Blade Runner at all. They're like, ooh, it has some shit sticking out of the top. Now it's sci-fi. Like, what? Why is that there? It makes no goddamn sense. But, hey. Um, Panels on this one. Here's another one. It's like, why are there and there always are like asymmetrical panel lines. Why is that there? It makes no sense. There's no one does that in you know unless it's a form like an aircraft that needs like an access panel or something. But the number of times it happens in real life is actually really really small. Um, but we think it's cool, so we do it. 0.05. There we go. Futuristic. Yes, exactly. It's from the future because it has a panel cut. Look, now it's futuristic. Hmm. But I mean, it works. And from a film perspective, it gives more lines and such for light to bounce off of and add interest. So that's why I like it for that stuff. Even if it's kind of subliminal, just that little cut there will make a difference in the render, even if you don't notice it. So it's worth doing. Let's see, how do we feel about doing it to these things? Yeah, exactly. Like it's a sense of we know what panels are, but they're neat looking and the average person understands how panels work about as well as the average person understands how hacking works for computers. So all you need to do is, the equivalent is throw a, screenshot of a Unix file, concatenating up a, whatever, and suddenly it is, sci-fi or hacking. Like literally they concatenated the C program for hello world or whatever, but people don't care. Let's see, do we want them down here? And yeah, we'll try. Cool. Yep, that works. And back to here. So initially I was going to have a roof hatch, but we've now added a dock, so I don't think we need a roof hatch anymore. We do have our door up here if anyone ever comes to look, but I don't know that we're going to care that much. But let's put some stuff on the roof, just again to give it some more interest. I think of all the kits I have ever bought, I have used this one now. This and the Viking kit from Kit Bash 3D. think I have used the most, um, for whatever it's worth. Um, yeah, exactly. The I'm in principle. Like, no, you're not. You know, my buddies and I used to laugh, but my first degree is in computer science, actually. So like, and from the 90s. So when all those like hacker movies were coming out and everyone thought it was cool and whatever, and just watching, you're like, you guys, that does nothing. Like, you actually don't, it doesn't work like that. But people don't care. As long as it looks cool, that's what matters. Which I am anal enough that it's actually not how I operate. So sometimes it causes some problems for me. But because I'm like, I want it to make sense. Let's see. Yeah, we can barely even see that, at least from this angle. Although I do different angles than these things, so hopefully, this is not wasted effort. And I'm like, adding a ton of stuff to a rooftop we'll never see. But I do like that, and I'm going to actually grab this sucker. No, that sucker. Fine. Piece off this thing. Shift D. I'm going to remove the mirroring from it. And that is its own thing. Remember, we were talking about the things I learned that I thought were amazing. Object, set origin to 3D cursor. Object, set origin, geometry to origin. Geometry to origin. There we go. I love that. Every time I do that, it just makes me happy from remembering having to manually place this stuff before I figure that out on my own how to do. It's kind of dumb, and I don't care. It just makes me happy. Okay, so we got a little light there on the top. And antenna or radar? See for these ones. The radar ones are neat. I mean, so are the antenna ones, but maybe we'll do a radar this time. Does this have a base to it, or is it just it's just that? Well, maybe we'll do both. Let's see what happens if we do radar on an antenna. I know. Crazy talk. GZ, bring it down. And then radar. Alt R. Oh yeah, snapping. Snapping is another one that I need to use more. I don't do a lot of it, and you're right, it is magical. And every time I think about it, it's like, why didn't I do that? The other one that I am becoming more and more fan of is setting the scaled to 0. So like SZ0 to get everything to line up flat on the same with individual origins. It's so good. Um, and never did it before. Okay, so we do need to give this thing some way to connect to this stuff. Edit. Let's see. This one we want to edit. Yeah, let's just do this one. Control R. Add an edge loop. 3. Normals. So he's going to give me something. Fine. I mean, it's a weird looking thing, but cool. Now we just bring this up a bit. The SC0 thing. Yep. I saw Ian Hubert do it once in one of his like videos, and I was like, "What in God's name is a sorcery?" When I was first starting out, it was great. Cool. I like that. And we got to pull back a little bit more. Looks like because now I can't see my antenna. There we go. Save. We're at 120. We're doing good. Cool. Let's see where we're looking in terms of. Yeah, I was using that SC0 thing with individual origins on edge mode to create a road off of Ian Hubert is a sorcerer, a road from a landscape. So I would, I wanted to make a road that followed the landscape, but I wanted the road itself to be flat. So selected the edge loop, extruded it up, added it, pulled it out, and then turned off the sides and did the SC0 thing, and I had a flat road that went up and down over my landscape. It was beautiful. And I was like, why didn't I think of doing this, before? Yeah, it's okay. um, yeah, based on work and how they live and what they do, I have sort of two, we'll use it in quotes, heroes, right? Ian Hubert and Simon Stollenhag. Like those are two people that just do the kind of thing I want to do, and they make a living at it, and it's amazing. Um, like the fact that Ian can do what he does and not have to worry about a job is just so good. Yeah, this is one of those ones that doesn't matter because no one's going to see it from back here, but maybe with the other angles, it didn't take long. Um, but just like the level of just ability to just make your own worlds and tell the rest, everybody else to screw off, just is just oh, amazing, amazing. I kind of want something else techie down here on this side on the back, just like I don't know what, but like maybe another antenna, just like a small thing here. Um, let's see. This one is like, it's like it's been kind of moored onto the rocks like that. Oh, Electric State is great. They just finished filming it in the movie version of it in wasn't Alberta, Manitoba, but 2 months ago. I was bummed I didn't get on it, but they pulled their entire concept team from Toronto. Um, it's the Russo brothers, the guys who did Captain America, Winter Soldier. They did it. Hopefully it'll be cool. I liked the TV show, the Netflix show for what Tales from the Loop. It was a bummer. Like it was a huge downer, but I liked it. I thought it was cool. I mean, the Tales from the Loop is kind of a downer. The actual text not appropriate for 9-year-old. I don't know. Electric State's not too bad. I don't think there's. I mean, I guess there's a little bit of weirdness, but I mean, I was a weird 9-year-old. By 9, I was reading everything on the planet. So um, I read Lord of the Rings when I was like 7.5, and then after that, by 9, I think I was reading like John Norman's Gore and like what the hell is this and why are these people having sex all the time? So um, yeah, weird life. Did homeschooling, didn't have a TV, went to the library, read a bunch of stuff. Tales from the Loop, I think it's Amazon. I can't remember. I was gonna say Netflix, but I know I think you're right. I think it is Amazon. Um, I mean, it's like a weird Twilight Zone vibe. a bummer. Which I was kind of into. It's like, yeah, what happens? Oh yeah, this person has a horrible life, and then it doesn't get better, and then they die. Like, oh, okay. Um, let's see where we're at. Yeah, I like that antenna. Just a little something that's subtle, but just at the backside like that. Let's see if we can find an HDR we like for this. Sea view. I've used like this one here quite a bit lately, and it's good. But let's see if we go with. No, that makes perfect sense. Not your child. You don't get to pick unless the kid's like, I've already been reading all this stuff. Shut up. And then that's different. But um, but yeah, not your child. You do what you got to do. You sow seeds. You're like, isn't this cool? Aren't these pictures cool? Go read it later. I don't know if I want the sun straight in the scene, but maybe like that. Yeah, that's kind of cool. And exposure is 2. There we go. Like all that texture it gets, God. Yeah. I don't know. This looks like a chicken on the top. It's kind of bugging me. I think I'm gonna get rid of it. Um, uh, yeah, we're just gonna. It was neat, but no. Let's put a different antenna back there. It looks like I said, it's like one of those roosters on a barn. Hmm. We'll do this one. Yeah, that's better. Just trying to center it a little bit because I'm anal. There's no need, but we're going to anyway. Come back. G. R. Cool. And yep, still readable. Cool. Okay, I want to bring this HDR down a little bit. And with this new version of HDR Maker, he removed that functionality from the app. So you have to go into thing. And I actually emailed about it. He's like, yeah, that would be a good idea to have. I'm like, yeah, it would. You get people who think about it from like but when you move it HDR, it distorts it. I'm like, yeah, but I'm only going to move it like a tiny little bit. I just want to get that gone. So tab and Z 0.1 might be too much. Yeah, Z 0.1 is too much. 0.01. There we go. That's all I want to do. And back up. And is it this one? Where it actually is? Where's the HDR? All right, here we are. 1K. He also, there's a bug and I can't change the resolutions on the damn things. This is 8K. Yeah. It's really frustrating. So it's just to change. Normally, what I would do is pick the 1K because it's lighter, then do all my adjusting to it, and then just switch it in the app to the 8K HDR, and then do the render with that. But now when you switch it, it loses all of your rotations. And I also told the developer that he says he'll fix it. So I'm trying to be nice. I'm going to change my windows. We've got enough time. We go a little bit over, whatever. But I want to change my windows here. This one, yes, to give them some lights since we're doing this as a night scene now. It wouldn't have mattered if it was going to be a daytime, but since it's going to be night, Let's do lights and windows, non-alpha, because I want it to be black underneath. And then UV editing. And I want it to be, do I have a lights? What do you call it? It would make sense if it was called lights. What do you call it? Oh, I can just, well, fine. Oh, I have to use my add-ons. Um, I'm, I just Windows. Okay. There we go. SY G. There we go. Cool. Let's do the same here. Do the other windows so it's not the same. I'm just kind of trying to line it up so we have windows where I'm looking from. And we do. No, actually, I don't like that. Tab. Piss off. Select the other direction. 0. So let's come back here. GX. And rotate it around. Nah, we're just going up. Fine. We'll just move it differently. Kind of want those green windows there, though. There we go. Oh man, I love Simple Cloth. I know they did move to using the Acid browser, but I love the Acid browser now, so I'm okay with that. But Simple Cloth is so good for making outfits for people if that's what you need to do. Um, I don't have a problem because normally what I do, I just drop it into the scene and then I just do Alt G, Alt R, which takes it back to the origin, and then I just bring it back up again. It's um, because I'm usually putting clothes on somebody at the origin anyway. Um, yeah, the breaking every time Blender's updates, that's a huge pain in my ass. Like it's one of the reasons that I don't update. I never use a beta version of Blender for two reasons. One, I do like actual client work on these things, and two, it doesn't have an auto migration of add-ons like the release ones do. So um, it just annoyed me. I just so I never do betas, and they come out fast enough anyway. It's like, all right, fine, I can wait for this stuff. So I'm watching all these other YouTubers do. Here's how you use, the new simulation geometry nodes. Blah. I'm like, yep, I'll get to it when it gets released. That's fine. I don't care. But yeah, and then it's like, oh, does the one that broke every time for me that was a huge nightmare was there's a SketchUp SKP file importer for Blender. And I don't like SketchUp, but the film industry in Vancouver lives on SketchUp. So it's really handy to be able to import a model. And it broke for a while there every single time a new gender nodes just dropped. Yeah. But yeah, it broke every time they upgraded Blender for like a year and a half. So I always was, and then they'd fix it like 2 weeks later. So for the first 2 weeks of release, I was always running two versions of Blender. So I'd import it into Blender and then save it and go the new one after that. Ugh, it was a pain in my ass. Um, that one breaks relatively frequently. The Sketchfab importer one, which I don't use as much anymore, but it broke all the time. Yeah, I'm in Vancouver. Um, Um, it's, you know, I like it most of the time here. Um, I want it to be warmer right now, but other than that, Oh yeah, it was a nightmare, Paul. It was such a pain in my ass. And like it often feels like for the first 2 weeks after Blender drops a new version, I wind up running two versions just so it's like, oh, my dad's character importer doesn't work, or oh, this, whatever. Ah, Surrey. I'm actually in Coquitlam, so I used to live in Vancouver proper, but I bought a condo a couple years ago out in Coquitlam because I couldn't afford to live in Vancouver. Um, and most of the studios are more out this way anyway, so when I do have to actually drive to work, it's easier. Ah, so we were all know the area. Seattle's awesome. Um, Minnesota's okay too, except it's just so damn gray in February. I can't handle it. Um, I used to do computer consulting, and I travel all over. It was when I was living in the United States. So like I've worked in right like at the Mayo Clinic in Minnesota, and it was just so depressingly gray the whole time. I was like, oh God. All right. Anyway, folks, we're at 1 hour 36, and I think we're pretty much good. I'm gonna like give this a final render. I don't even think I'm gonna do much to it this time. Let's just turn on what we can see of the compositor nodes. Yeah, so we'll do a final render and get it up to Instagram and Mastodon and Kara.app and probably Facebook. Um, yeah, and thanks both you guys for talking to me the whole time. It makes this a lot more interesting. Um, and yeah, I'll be back tomorrow. I don't know what I'm gonna do yet. I've kind of every day this week. I'm like, I don't know what I'm gonna do tomorrow, and usually I figure it out like 2 minutes before I go to bed. I'm like, oh yeah, that'll work. So hopefully that'll be the case. Um, anyway, I will let you folks go. Um, if you're not here currently and you're watching later, please like and subscribe. I'd appreciate it. Um, and I'll talk to you all later. Bye. Bye.